Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about Cafe Society and how you select the women and the artists? And do you guys plan on doing anything with dance and
Yes.
art?
Yes, well, it started with just women in music, and then the first couple ones have gone so well, and we decided, the whole crux of it was always just not one genre, so we're going to be doing folk, country, I mean, things that I love. I mean, we'll do punk, we'll do rock, everything. We're not gonna skip a genre. And then we also realized that, you know, being creative and being artistic in the city does not just mean music. It can mean dancing, belly dancing. It can mean just your art. I have a niece from San Francisco that I want to come up here and show her art. You know, it's just empowering women to know that it's okay to be confident in this industry, and it's okay to showcase what you have and your talents. Anybody else?
I mean, you kind of touched on it. I'm still a little curious as to, like, especially as a male in hip-hop. I mean, I think this goes back to what Hannah was saying. You know, misogyny is a huge issue. There's a lot of really immature issues in hip-hop. But it can be, like, very difficult. Very often I find myself in love with verses whose messages I hate. Like, and so without... I think the idealistic solution is, well, you just don't buy and pay and support the shit that doesn't speak an intelligent message. But I'm not sure that that's entirely realistic. As you said, you have people on your label say things that you don't necessarily support.
It comes with growth, though. I think that I remember back in the art bar days, I remember a friend of ours, his name was Eton. I was sitting next to him, and this gentleman was a force back in the day in local hip-hop, and he was very much steadfast in listening to lyrics. And it was when Ludacris first came out, and I was singing the lyrics and having fun, you know, drinking, whatever, and I had said something, I didn't really realize what I had said, and he looked at me, and he was really upset. He was like, do you realize what you're doing? And at first I was like, what's he talking about? Like, leave me alone and have fun. But then I went home and thought about it, and I thought, you know, he's right. You know, if I want to be a woman in this industry, I can't really be bobbing my head to a Ludacris song that's talking about giving head. You know what I mean? And so I would say that for me, personally, it was growth. And having those strong males around me to say, hey, it's not really like cracking, you know?
I guess where I'm finding difficult, you know, very difficult in kind of like trying to find your opinion is like you suggested Common. I mean, there was certainly that time, especially in the early 2000s, where like, that conscious, like, pro everything hip-hop in the middle of the day, and it collapsed in on itself a lot. Like you said, financially there's gain in it. So like,
but see, the Common is what we started as Common Sense. He had growth as well.
Yeah.
He had growth in his music as well. So I think that, you know, and especially in the hip-hop industry, because it got taken over so quickly and was mass marketed to neighborhoods and people that didn't really understand what was going on. All of a sudden, you know, these white neighborhoods, you know, you're coming home with, you know, Jay-Z and Biggie and Tupac, and these things are happening. Well, people are getting really confused, and I think once they realize, hey, this is a moneymaker, game on. Misogynize women, be a sexist, you know what I mean? I mean, look at the videos that when they first came out were insane, you know, and I don't know if I'm really answering your question, but I can only speak to what I've been through. And I think for me, it was really just growing and having people around me like Sporting Life and him and good people that I grew up with, men, saying, look, you know, and as a woman, everybody goes through it, you know. I mean, Janae, you're young. You might have, you know, gone through a time where you thought it might be okay to dress, you know. Everybody has, you know. And I think for me, it's growth and realizing that I really wanted to have a footing in this industry, and just kind of realizing that you have to act a certain way and be a certain way and hold your head high, look people in their eyes, and, you know, not play yourself out.
Can I just add something to that?
Yeah.
I think what you bring up is a really good point, and that's sort of like an age-old problem with if you really love art, whether you're talking about music or cinema or visual art or whatever. Good art generally makes people a little uncomfortable, and so it might, and one of the hallmarks of what makes hip-hop interesting is truth-telling. And so it's kind of like one of my favorite albums of all time is Straight Outta Compton, and I'm a hardcore feminist. So, you know, it's difficult to reconcile those things, and not to dissuade what you're saying about being a thoughtful consumer, but it's also it's really about critical thought and having awareness and not being afraid to analyze it and say, why is this sexist? How is this sexist? What is this speaking to in the greater picture? And just being really honest in the way that you digest your art rather than just kind of blindly shove it in your face, if that makes any sense. Because there is good art that's misogynistic, and I don't think that you can toss it out just because they talk about running a train if it's if it's amazing work.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
To speak to that,
yeah.
I think I hear what you're saying, but I also, for me, I'm an advocate for kids and especially young girls.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't condone being a consumer of that music, because I have girls that I mentor and that I would never want to feel that way. I don't want them to think that I'm that way.
Certainly an age-appropriate factor.
No, it's an age-appropriate factor, and I think even for women in their 20s. I mean, because I know in my 20s I was not grown yet, and I think that the more of a role model you are as a woman in this industry to say, hey, I don't have to listen to that shit, or the men that are around me don't have to listen to that either, the more you're going to be able to affect change, you know what I mean? So I just think the more you're out there and the more you try to just let people know, you know, the importance of it, because, you know, I'm not going to get too personal, but rape is really something that's very, very close to my family and to me, and I will always have that in me. So I always look at that when I listen to music, even punk music back in the day. You know, there was times I couldn't listen to it. You know, there was times I couldn't identify with it because they were saying things that I didn't agree with. You know what I mean? So I've always been sort of an advocate for women in music, and well, just the way women are treated in this industry. So I understand what you're saying, and I think that there are times, I think that as you grow, you know how to put things in certain pockets, but as you're going through it, you don't really know how to circumvent that if you have no idea what's going on. And if that's the one thing that you see, you're going to act like that, you're going to emulate that. So I just feel like there needs to be more responsibility and more people like us out there to say, hey, it's okay, but, you know, be a woman at the same time, you know?
Sorry.
I know. All right, you guys, thank you very much.
Thanks.